don't give a shit.
Who's giving them the business? The business.
All the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. He's got it.
Goes Davis.
Oh my God.
Davis is going running all the way back.
It's going to win the field. It's going to be to the goal line. It's going to be gone. It's a touchdown. And the Gators have won the game.
To the 40, Herman Whitfield to the 30, to the 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown official.
Welcome back. Another week of college football extravaganza. We got week 1 review and week 2 picks and locks. Here we go. Davis is on a flight. He's got another wedding to go to. That's what he gets for being such a good friend. I'm your host, Robert Vincent, alongside co-host Justin. How you doing, Justin?
Living the dream, trying to figure out when we can do a pod. I know we're so sporadic with our scheduling of when can we do it? Can it be a Monday? Can it be a Tuesday? Can it be at 8 p.m.? Can it be at 6 p.m.? We're all over the place. But we're giving you something every week.
Yeah, no, we worked. I feel like we worked it out pretty good. We almost got Davis in there, but he had a flight, so it is what it is. We tried to do Mondays, but if we don't get on a Monday, we're going to get it at least some point during the week before the Thursday.
Hey, at least if Davis did join, it would have been the best sound audio. I know that for a fact. So,
yeah, it would have been
we're
Uber ride
about that.
to the airport or airport ride. All right, so we don't have that much time. Let's hop right into it. Justin's got a big boy job. He's got to go give grown adult drinks here in a little bit. So he's doing the Lord's work there. All right.
I really am on a Wednesday night.
On a Wednesday, I mean, that's the best night to drink. Speaking of drinking, me and you are gonna have to give a shot because we bet on South Carolina. North Carolina, here's to North Carolina. Looked good. Defense looked really good. South Carolina's O-line, absolutely terrible. 8
Poor
sacks.
Spencer Rattler.
Poor Spencer Rattler. 8 sacks.
Man got ruined.
To Spencer Rattler.
Spencer Rattler.
Now, do I think this is the end of South Carolina's season, or do I think this is the end in a good way for North Carolina? No, on both sides. I think it's a long season to go. Beamer Ball has some Beamer adjustments to make. With that being said, this is not how they wanted to start off the season from last season and the good streak they had, besides the Notre Dame bowl game, but besides the streak they had going, I'm surprised. I thought it'd be a close victory either way for either team. I don't know. That was a great game to watch, though.
The line was pretty straightforward of this is going to be a field goal game type thing, and they just laid the blitz there in the second half. I mean, I think it was tied, or South Carolina was barely down, 3, and they threw on the blitz in the second half, and literally, I don't know how their season's going to go now, because they have weapons and they can do a lot, and they're really excited to watch. Spencer Rattler could do a really good job, but that's really not a good O-line, if we're being honest.
Right. So that was our shot game from last week. I'm 1-1 in shot games, so that's fine. I'm 1-1. That's okay. Justin 0-1. Davis is also 1-1. Last night was today's Wednesday. So Monday night ended 5 straight days of college football this past week. It seems like last year and this year we got 5 straight days to open up the season because pro doesn't start till the week after. Starting with the Florida-Utah game, I had to say my Gators did not come out as hot as I thought they would. O-line, much like South Carolina, didn't look too good. Graham Mertz, to me, looked like he did fine. He was serviceable. I think going back and looking at some of the stuff from the Gator game, there's a lot that we can learn from watching it. I'm not quite giving up on them yet, but it's gonna be a long season. It's gonna be a long season if you're gonna play like that.
Yep. I mean, So we hired, I think his name's Alex Long. He was the linebacker coach at Bama. He was hired to be it. And then we stole him from Bama as our defensive coordinator, and he's 29, really young. And like from the get-go, he was like, I think Utah's first touchdown was like a 74-yarder or something like that.
Yeah, and it looked like the two Florida defenders kind of they didn't quite go up and get it right there. And that's what I'm saying. We're kind of young. Like the Gators are young there, so I'm not too worried. I think they'll grow into their own. I saw a lot of young guys who made mistakes, and then they had some glimpses of some talent there. So I don't know.
Yep, it's gonna be a long
Shut up,
year.
Wheel. Get out of here, Wheel.
Yeah. He said, "How many games does Florida have to lose before you call Napier Cajun Willie Taggart?" I don't know. I think
He's
you
got
have
the number
to
3
lose.
recruiting class in the country, so I'm not doing that just yet.
You would have to lose like an FCS game. Like if we lost to McNeese,
If we lose to
I'd
McNeese,
throw that out there.
If we lose to McNeese this week,
Charlotte, even, like if you lose to Charlotte, and they're not a bad team, but you lose to them, it's like, yeah. So like, I mean, if we lose 5 or 6 games, 6 or 7 games,
yeah,
it's not gonna be a fun year. I mean, looking at Florida's schedule, I don't see 5 wins genuinely. McNeese is 1, Charlotte's 2. We have to go eat like the next 3 wins are either got to come from Kentucky, Vandy, South Carolina, or Mizzou, because I don't see us beating LSU.
Kentucky looked ready to play ball. I saw some of the Kentucky game. They looked ready to play ball. They were fast. Tennessee whooped up on Virginia at a neutral site game. I mean,
I'm in favored this week, they're playing a group of 5 team. So
might as well have been us. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. South Carolina, I don't know. Maybe we can get our D-line could probably harass South Carolina's O-line, seeing how they played. Georgia, forget about it. Arkansas, wearing those black uniforms, it's going to be a bad day to wear black. And LSU, I mean, we saw them at Florida State. We'll get to it. I don't want to spend too much time on this Gator loss, though.
Yeah, we can move on from that really quick. Like, it's nothing crazy to stick on.
Yep.
So.
Cam Rising is expected to play this week, though.
Yep.
He's back at full practice, so.
And they're only favored by 8. Yeah, they're only favored by 8 for that game. Oh yeah, Virginia, they're not even favored versus James Madison this week. And I mean, James Madison's a really good team. Like they were the top 25 the first year in the Sun Belt last year. Then Marshall put them out, but they're definitely one of the better teams in the Sun Belt. And you know how Sun Belt can be. If they got a good team going on, they'll put a whipping on anybody.
Yep, I agree. All right, moving on from that Thursday night. I mean, there was an awesome Nebraska-Minnesota game as well. I don't know if I'd say awesome, but it did come down. It was a nail biter. It did come down to a crazy last-second field goal, and I mean, just heartbreaking for Nebraska right there. Heartbreaking loss for Nebraska. Big toe tap, touchdown catch over there by Minnesota to end that. Was it a toe tap or did they kick the field goal? Because I thought they were tied after the touchdown, and then they kicked the field goal to win. We're gonna look at the box score real quick.
Oh yeah, it's a field goal as time expired, 47 yards out, dragging Kisek.
Yeah, yeah. So the touchdown with the toe tapper, which was absolutely insane. If we had more time today, I'd pull up some highlights. But I had a friend message me afterwards, and he's a Gator fan. He was like, "My dad's a Nebraska fan. We're both cursed." He's already week 1 saying we're both cursed this whole season. So we'll see what happens. Moving forward, Miami won the Battle of Miamis pretty handily, 38-3.
Nothing to even talk about with that one, dog. Like that was just it was a tune-up game that had some hype to it for some reason.
It's because they're talking shit. The quarterback was like, "I'm gonna show them who the real Miami was," and he didn't. He did not at all. Bad beat. If you bet on this game, some people had Louisville. I think
this
minus
was nuts.
8. It was nuts. Louisville came back, took the lead, and covered, and then last minute, Georgia Tech covered. So
I think Georgia Tech had the best solo quarter of the week. Like they put up 28 in the second, and I don't think anyone else put up that many points in one quarter from week 1, which is weird to say. Washington, they had their second quarter was 28, but then Notre Dame also had a 28 versus Tennessee State. But you had a couple, but like when it comes to versus a Power 5, there's no other, like, no one else is doing that on put on 28 points in a quarter.
Yeah, again, and we can even say against a conference opponent here. But
Mhm.
Louisville, good on you for coming back. Man, Louisville is one of those teams where if you look at their schedule, they don't have many roadblocks in front of them. I lied. I just lied. I just straight up lied to you guys. I pulled up their schedule. I thought they were pretty clear, but they have Notre Dame, Duke now.
Who's ranked? Who's ranked?
Yeah, who is ranked now?
Duke is ranked.
Well, okay. And then Miami and Kentucky. So Louisville does not have it easy there in the ACC. I thought they did. But
I've honestly never seen a easier ACC schedule than this one. I thought Florida State had it really easy, but they don't have UNC or FSU on here. And really, like, Notre Dame and Duke are like their main fits to go on about. And then they have Kentucky, which is always a fun matchup watching them go.
no one counts that. No one counts Yale and Princeton anymore.
I mean,
And also, I'm pretty sure Alabama has like 17 or 18 at this point after Saban's run. Stanford should have joined the Ivy League, but no, they want to go to the ACC.
They want to go to the ACC, the Pacific
They want to go to the ACC. I guess we could. We just briefly mentioned that Cal, Stanford, and SMU to the ACC now going to be the All Coast Conference, or the whatever you want to call it. They're going to rebrand.
We're supposed to call it the All Children's Conference. That's
All
the name,
Children's
All Children's Conference.
The All Children's Chorus. Yeah. I don't know. Singing conference realignment songs. All right. Moving on from that Friday. I don't see anything. Speaking of Stanford, they did get the win over in Hawaii. A lot of people had Hawaii winning. A lot of people put their +3 on Hawaii. Not me. I held back because I knew this might happen. Stanford actually gets the win over there. Poor Hawaii, man. Burning to the ground and can't get a win.
Jesus.
Cannot get a win. This ain't radio, Justin. This is a tasteful podcast. Georgia opens up with a win. Justin, just stop me if you're ready. Michigan does not cover that -36 and -36 against North Carolina. So that was
fun to watch at the end. That was fun to watch at the end.
Tight buttholes all around if you had that lock. Ohio State does not cover versus Indiana, 23-3.
That's
wild.
So
we have to talk about Ohio State real quick.
Yeah, we do because
them in the playoffs.
Simpson and Ibuka, like, they had a total of 6 catches for like 34 yards, I think, between the two of them, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Ibuka had 1, and Marvin Harrison had, how many did he have? Yeah, he had 2, and then Ibuka had 4. So or 3. Yeah, so they had 3. They had 5 catches for a total of 34 yards between the two of them, which is, for the best receiver duo in the country, pretty shitty. That's just not what you want to see. Trayvon Henderson only 47 yards. That's not what you want to see. Kyle 23, 239 interception. That's not what you want to see. I mean, this is a Indiana team that, sure, they can compete every now and then, and they're fun to watch, but they didn't even have 90 yards passing or 80 yards rushing. Like, they had 150 yards total of offense to your near 400.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this game so
good on Ohio State's defense? Maybe this is an Ohio State team that has a defense to be reckoned with this year. Who knows? But
if you're Ryan Day, who's supposed to be one of the best offensive minds in college football, why is this not better?
Yeah. You're going to have to get those points up, especially if you're going to play Michigan, Penn State, even Wisconsin. Wisconsin looking good this last week. But
Wisconsin is they are a very far dark horse to win the Big Ten. Like, it's very possible. And if it doesn't happen this year, I think it will happen the next 3 because of just Luke Fickell purely. like get them time to recruit, and it will happen. But still, even with how good of a game coach he is, it's possible that they can throw some fits out there throughout the Big Ten.
Yeah, I mean, they got him late in the season. Ohio State has Wisconsin at Wisconsin after Penn State, so that is a little toughy.
That's a hard stretch.
That is a little hard stretch right there.
You go. It's so tough to think about now. I mean, because like think about it. You're going versus Penn State. Luckily, you have them at home, but then Madison is no easy place to play if they're playing good. Like simply enough, like you don't need to put it any different. Like jump around and just how they rock out there is just as good as a wideout almost. I mean, you just cannot take that place for granted either. It's so tough if they're good. Yeah,
it's going to be cold. I mean, it's going to be cold. They're going to be jumping, and Luke Fickell's going to be fickling. So that's what's going to be going. That's what's going to be going on.
You know what they say? Fick around and find out.
Yeah, fick around and find. That's a shirt. We start selling merch.
That's a shirt, bro.
That's a shirt.
Start selling merch.
Yeah, that's Justin. Write it down. That you get 15%. We all get 15%. All right, moving on. Alabama, Jalen Milroe. Great opening game for Jalen. 194 yards through the air. 48 yards rushing. It says he's a rushing leader here with only 48 yards. He had that crazy first touchdown run where he fumbled the ball, picked it up, and then ran all around.
So he's a scary guy to watch run. No. He's a scary guy to watch run because he fumbles a lot. Like he fumbled 3 times versus A&M last year. You know, he's a scary guy to watch run because he runs fast and he's so out in space. He's so hard, but it's just like if he gets caught from behind, it's so easy to punch the ball out. Like like just one of the easiest guys to strip and force a fumble on in college football, which is weird to say hearing that coming out of the top house in the game.
We'll see. I mean, I did see him fumble against A&M last year. I mean, A&M won that game because of a couple of those fumbles, probably, and amongst other things. But that was a fun game to watch last year too. You just reminded me of that. But he's fast. You get him in open field, he's a playmaker. So you
had a lot of guys that were running the ball. A lot of guys that were running the ball for him. He had 2 touchdowns on the ground and 3 in the air. It was
first quarterback in Alabama history, right, to do that?
I think so. In the first game,
which blew my mind. I was like, "You mean Jalen Hurts didn't do that?"
That's what I'm trying to think. I was like, "Did Jalen not do?" I mean, I can probably check that, but that doesn't make sense. I mean,
no, that was a stat they were throwing around. There, 3 touchdowns and then 2. So it's like, okay, I guess he is the first to do that. But I would have figured, Jalen
if anybody.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. That's weird.
Yeah,
crazy.
But Alabama covers. USC covered almost twice against Nevada. I did not think they were going to cover. I didn't lock it, but they didn't cover. Davis gets a win on the lock. Penn State beats West Virginia. And Drew Aller throws for 325 yards in his opening game as a Nittany Lion.
He looked good.
He looked good. Penn State looked good. Penn State looked good. And that's, we knew going into this season that the Big Ten is going to be a 3-horse race mainly, but I'm excited. I'm super excited to watch this 3-horse race go down. I need to see more from Ohio State to make it a 3-horse race, because right now I kind of want to bump Penn State up above Ohio State. I want to bump them above them. I just do.
I don't. Not yet.
You don't. You're still thinking Ohio State over Penn State.
I mean, okay, a 20-point win over Indiana, it's not flattering, but I mean, it doesn't mean you get to discredit Ohio State and how good they really are. Like, they're still going to be a great team this year. If I think they're going to figure it out. I really do. And
yeah, I mean, it's week 1.
Yeah,
I got it. All right, you had a great lock. I also stole one of these locks. Washington beats the ever-loving shit out of Boise State. Michael Penix Jr. throws for 450 yards. And they did start off a little slow. Boise State jumped out to a 6-0 lead, And then Washington was like, nuh-uh. And they just piled it on, dude.
I was watching. I was like, this is a really slow start. And then they went 28-7 and 21. And I was just like, damn, like this is a beating. But he was fun to watch throughout this game. You see him. You had nearly 3 receivers who had 100 yards receiving. McMillan was only 5 away, but 5 different guys with touchdown catches from that game. Because even their backup Dylan Morris, he threw a touchdown pass in that game as well, 1 for 1, 31 yards and a touchdown. So now Washington. Hey, y'all know my opinion on Washington.
Yeah.
I love them, and I love Penix, and I'm riding them all year long.
Here's another shirt we should make. Week 1 Pac-12 overs. Bet them, because that's the entire Pac-12 just absolutely exploded with offensive yards and points.
I feel like that one should already be out there because we've talked about that forever. Like, there's no defense in that damn conference, and it doesn't matter who you add, whether it's UCF or SMU, whoever you add. Like, it's not. There's not going to be defense.
There's no conference in that damn conference.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I enjoyed watching that. I enjoyed watching Bo Nix, since we're talking about the Pac-12. Oregon put up 81 points against in-state Powder Puff, Portland State. 81 points.
Dude. They dropped a Kobe piece on them, dude.
Mm-hmm.
They dropped a Kobe. They dropped a Kobe piece.
And Bo Nix played like maybe the first drive into the second half and then did not play anymore. So they kept putting up points without Bo Nix, regardless. I mean,
I wonder. Like, I want to see the backup quarterback stats because I feel like so backup. There's 7 for 8 for 81 with a touchdown. It was a run game. They had 4 different guys run the ball in.
Oh yeah, it looked like DeAnthony Thomas, and it looked like the Oregon of old, you know, and I like that a lot. I loved watching Oregon back in the day with the Chip Kelly spread offense, dude. I loved it. Tennessee whoops up on Virginia. I skipped Texas. Texas got out to a slow start against Rice. Quinn Ewers throws for 260. Xavier Worthy had a big long run, or not long run. He had some good receptions, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm sour on Texas, if Texas was just holding off for Alabama. I don't know what to think about this slow start here.
Well, a lot of teams, they start out slow. You don't really questionable if it's against these teams because it's like you're not going to bring out your big stuff versus Rice. Like, you could scoot on by, and if people get mad about it, get mad about it. Like, we're just taking care of ourselves for what's going to happen this week, which is they got to head to Tuscaloosa, and they're going to take care of that there. So, before we do get into the next week games, though, I do want to hit Colorado and TCU.
Yeah, let's go ahead and hit that because I do want to spend some time on that.
I want to get a few minutes on this.
I had them locked in. I've been a believer since Deion went over there to Colorado. Last season, I was saying he's cleaning out house. I thought it was a good thing. A lot of people were criticizing Deion about it, and a lot of people had TCU minus 20.5, like some dumbasses. I don't know what y'all are doing in there. He's got this kid. I don't know if you heard about him, Travis Hunter, playing both sides of the ball. 100 snaps, looking like a Heisman on day one. They did it. This is the most exciting team right now in college football to watch.
Number one for sure right now, and let me just dive in on Deion, man. One, people were like, they hated on the fact that he came in and just cleaned house, right? Deion's made quotes as a player that he don't give a fuck about your opinion, right? He doesn't care. He said, your opinion on me doesn't change my opinion on myself, and the only opinion on myself is the only one that matters. That's how Deion works, right? Like, he is a guy, he talks like a wise guy, and he is one from how he does things. People are so shocked. They didn't want to believe it. The guy coached at Jackson State. The guy recruited at Jackson State. The guy had a process, and he had a foundation that he instilled in Jackson State that was successful with how he ran his program, how he ran his players. You don't see any other coach first of all, put the eyes in the room. This guy always has cameras on him, no matter how serious or how light or how fun a conversation is with the team. He always has cameras. You don't see any coaches do that because coaches are scared to do that. But last year at Jackson State, he put up to a team vote a player that did something wrong. He described it to the room, didn't say the player's name. The player's in the room. And he said, if you think that this player should still be at the team, stand up. 60% of the room stood up. If you think he should be gone, or like if you should be gone, stand up. And like 80% of the room stood up, right?
Yeah.
And then he tells that player, looks at him and just says, get out. The guy wouldn't move.
Don't get. Yeah, I remember that.
You don't see anyone else doing that. Deion's revolutionizing the game. People are scared to say that. Dabo is scared to embrace it. Saban's probably scared to embrace it. He's embracing NIL. He's embracing the advancement of technology, of showing that this is what the game's going to be one day. People hate it because he's the first to do it, but it's the trendsetter. He's the trendsetter of what's going to happen with college football in a new era of the advancement of technology, cameras, social media. He's embracing it. He has players putting their social media tags on the back of their jersey. Sooner rather than later, you're going to see that on ESPN graphics where their social media tags are up on there. He's embracing it because he knows it's going to happen. So why wait for it? Instead, he's attacking it, and it's becoming huge. And that's why he's getting those recruits. That's why he's getting these guys, because he's embracing what these kids are looking for and what the big part is of NIL nowadays. He is setting the tone. He is setting the tone. People are going to have to catch up to him. He might not be that successful this year. This is a great start. I think he's going to be great. I think Shador is going to play great. I think Travis is going to be great. They might not win 6 games this year. I still think they do, but they might not. This Pac-12 is loaded. Yeah. But he's setting the tone of how you do college football and how you coach a team going into this new era that is college football in today's society.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, speaking of technology, he's got a robot there at cornerback and wide receiver. Travis Hunter with a pick, an incredible pick, probably one of the plays of the week. And then also a big save on what was a huge 4th down play. It goes up and gets the ball.
Well, so, Travis, I mean, he even left another interception that hit his hands and a 50-yard touchdown catch that was in his arms that Shador laid out a beautiful ball. First of all, Shador, one of the most – all right, I'll say this. Shador was the best-looking quarterback week 1. I want to make that really clear. He is my favorite guy to watch right now. His deep ball accuracy is incredible. Like every time he put someone out there, he had a lot of drops. There was probably 100 yards left in drops out on deep balls for Colorado alone. But he still looked good. 5'10", school record in his first game ever there. It's just the beginning, right? And it was exciting from beginning to end. Shiloh, he led the team in tackles with 10. Travis, he played 120 snaps. I said this in a podcast, not this podcast, but just one of my own, that I said Travis Hunter will win the most versatile player of the year award. I forget what the exact name is, but he award for college football this year. And I don't know if it's because of the density that runs through Colorado and Boulder, but that right there is why he's so able to work out and play that well in 100 degrees in Texas, because he's working out in Boulder. He has to work out in that air that is Colorado that, people have to train differently for if they go play there. It's a huge difference for them. Dylan Edwards, he's not even getting enough credit because, it's just such a big spotlight on Deion and his son and Travis Hunter. But 5 catches for 135 yards at 3 touchdowns, and he's a running back. Not to mention, he ran the ball for, I think, he only ran the ball for 24 yards. He was making more happen as a receiver than a running back. He only had 5 catches. He was averaging 27 yards a catch, and he had a 75-yard touchdown. The kid was going crazy. We had plays all around. Defense did not look great. It's not even the secondary is awesome. I want to point that out. Secondary is awesome. You have so many good guys, and you probably have the best cornerback of all time at your head coach spot. And it's your front 7. They're not putting enough pressure on Chandler Morris. That's why he's able to beat him underneath, or that's why he's able to find time to pick someone off. But you still picked him off twice, and you forced 18 incompletions. That's a pretty good day.
And he held Amani Bailey to no touchdowns there. He did have 14 carries for 164 yards, 11 yards, 11.7 yards average. And Chandler Morris did a good job too. Like TCU's offense looked pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Like, don't take anything away from TCU here, but Colorado they wanted it more. They were dogs.
Yeah. All right, let's hit Sunday night's game, FSU and LSU, real quick.
Yeah.
This was you had FSU winning this game, I believe. I did not.
Yep, I had FSU winning this game. I don't know. I just felt it coming. The hype for FSU, I feel like, is real this year. There early on, it was tied up. I mean, FSU's defense stood up Jaden Daniels a few times, and he tried to just jump into a pile one time and absolutely got creamed. It was just awful. And then in the second half, FSU just kind of ran away with it. LSU did have their guy out, Smith. What's his first name?
Mason Smith.
Mason Smith. Big loss for LSU there. And I don't know, FSU.
I think the main thing is here is like FSU's good, and we knew they were. And I didn't want to buy into the hype because I don't like buying into the hype when it comes to teams like FSU. But Jordan Travis had it, 342, 4 touchdowns and an interception. Jaden Daniels was the leading rusher and leading passer in this game technically, but he just couldn't figure it out. He just couldn't figure it out. His reads were horrible. Like, it's hard to watch him. Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors, they had solid games, but the real difference maker was Keon Coleman.
Yeah.
That guy was crazy good. He's real deal. He's like Johnny Wilson, 7 catches, 104 yards. Keon Coleman, 9 catches for 122, 3 touchdowns. And we thought Johnny Wilson would be the difference maker, and it was actually this transfer from Michigan State that was talked about a pretty good amount, you have to admit. But LSU, they didn't have a running back that they were missing. Special teams was horrible. The secondary was the worst part of LSU, though.
Yeah, by far they were getting picked apart. And Coleman, as a transfer, like, I know you got to go here in a little bit, so I want to get this out of the way. A transfer that was in a transfer portal, and who could have used some transfers there? Clemson. Monday night, Clemson goes down to Duke, and in Durham, North Carolina, the Duke-Durham, North Carolina. Dude, that was insane. That was insane to watch to me.
They had the leading passer, leading rusher, and leading receiver, and they still couldn't get this done. I mean, Duke's numbers didn't pop off the page by any means. 375 yards of offense to Clemson's 400, but Duke got in the fucking end zone.
Yeah.
Clemson didn't put up points.
Clemson fumbled it twice inside the 10 or 15 yard line there on the exchange, on the read. So you can't do that. You can't do that and win ball games. So I'm not going to say this is completely a transfer portal loss right here, but you got blue chips all over the field and you're not going to beat Duke. There's a few things that could be going on there, but that's unexpected way for Clemson to open up the season.
Clemson, like, you thought you'd have this discussion over Florida State, right? Because Florida State embraces the transfer portal, and look at what they did versus LSU. But you didn't think you'd be having it this soon versus Duke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's the eyebrow raiser right there. We knew we'd have this discussion eventually about Dabo, but over Duke.
No way.
It's not good, man.
All right, I'm gonna let you pick out your locks and games because I know you gotta get going, and then I'll bring Davis's clips on here, and then I'll give my locks, and then we'll wrap it up here for this episode.
So a lot of games look really good to me. Notre Dame, NC State. Notre Dame is favored 7.5 on the road. I like that game. I'm going to take Notre Dame's cover. I think they'll have 8 or more in that game. I like that one a lot. Nebraska, Colorado at home. This one's a really annoying line to me because the home team automatically gets 4 points and Colorado's favored by 3. So if you're telling me this game's a neutral site, that means Nebraska would be favored by 1. I'd put a fucking grand on this if I had a grand to put on this for this damn game because Colorado's going to blow them out. Matt Rule, I'm sorry, man. You're going to get blown out of this game. Give me Colorado by 1 million. I would go to anywhere that I could place a bet to do this if it's able to happen, because they're going to win this game. Big noon kickoff is going back to Boulder, and that place is going to be rocking. That's the game I feel like everyone should watch, is what happens at Boulder, because you're going to see another universe of college football reawaken that we haven't seen since the 90s, I think.
Mm-hmm. I think we're 2 for 2 right there. Me and you, both those locks. I'm doing those locks as well this week. Colorado and Notre Dame, both looking real good.
This one's a little bit of a reach, but I think I'll be at this game, so I'm going to give a lock on it. Ole Miss and Tulane, top 25 matchup. Tulane, I think it's going to have a lot of fun. Ole Miss is a good team. I hope it's going to be close. I'm going to run the plus 8.5 on there.
Don't do it. No, you won't. You're going to go with Tulane.
I'm gonna run the plus 7.5 there. I'm gonna do it because I'm going to Yeoman and I want to see him happy. That's a reach for sure, but they can play ball and you cannot disrespect this team. They handled South Alabama handedly. I think they're gonna take it.
There we go. We got Nasty Nate in here saying Cincy locked by Pitt by 2 million. Emory Jones going off last week, by the way.
Dude.
Should have kept them.
Oh my God, we forgot about them. A&M and Miami 4.5. That's a tough one. That's a rat line. I feel.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
I like this one a lot. UTSA and Texas. UTSA, they're favored by -13 after losing. Texas State just beat Baylor. Give me Texas State plus 13, man. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm looking at what else I have going on. App State, North Carolina, that -18 for UNC. That's a weird one because App State can just come out and ball out. I wouldn't touch that if I were anybody.
I don't know. After seeing North Carolina's defense harass South Carolina like that, we'll see.
Cincy and Pitt. Oh, +7 for Cincy.
That's tempting, but I don't think we know. I don't think we know.
This is the other one I was looking at. Jacksonville State, Coastal Carolina. Coastal -13. Give me Rich Rod plus 13 on that one.
Oh, that's a good one. All right.
I like that one. I'm trying to see.
That's 4. I think that's 4. I'm not sure. I'll have to listen back to this.
I remember all of them. I'm going to give you 5. All
right, good.
All right, and I think my last one is going to be – where'd it go?
I mean, while you're thinking about it, I got Texas Tech and Oregon. I got Oregon covering this spread.
What's the
time here? I don't know why they're not having. Oh, here we go. -6.5 for Oregon. I got Oregon.
I'll take that.
Yeah, you want to take that one too?
That one with you.
I'm taking that one too.
Cool. All right, so that's gonna be my 5. Yeah, that Pitt Cincy line looks fun to watch, but I mean, EJ did put up 7 touchdowns on EK, but it's just like it's Eastern Kentucky, and it's also Emory Jones in a bigger game. We don't really know. We really
Ducks by 60. I agree, man. I agree. Texas Tech, they went out to Wyoming and lost that in triple overtime. That's a bad loss after a lightning delay, man. It's a bad loss.
Oh wait, we have to give a take on Alabama, Texas though. Shit, yeah, we have to mention that game.
Now that you mention it, Justin, that is indeed our game of the week. Oh dang it! I didn't bring the graphic up. Hang on.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever.
This is it's a very makeshift week we have going on right now.
Yeah, next week we'll have the graphics for you. But yeah, I had a whole graphic made for no reason now.
I'm not going to give a lock on this one because purely last year this was a way too close to the game, and I'm not going to risk it again, especially because Texas is probably firing on cylinders more than Alabama. Because Alabama's going through a refresh page and everything, it's like they haven't been tested yet. But I'm still running Bama. I'm still going to run Bama. I'm never going to bet against Bama. I'm never going to bet against Saba. Like it's especially on Brian Denny. Like you're not going to bet against them. But the over under looks fun. 53.5. I don't know.
It could be right around there. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a scary one to bet with. Yeah, I would not touch this game as far as betting wise. I think I would, if I had to, though. I think I would take Alabama -7, just judging off of first week play.
That's what I.
Just judging off of first week play and how everything went. Yeah. I mean, I think that's good. If you got to skedaddle, you can skedaddle. I'll bring Davis in here in his videos. But thanks for stopping by. Go follow Justin and go follow his other pods too. If you have anything else to plug, Justin, go ahead and plug it.
Go Buffs, baby. Give me Dion or give me death.
Wow. And now I am by my lonesome. Hey, let me see here. We'll have to throw up the old extravaganza thing. All right. I'm looking in here, and I like this UCF Boise State game. I don't know if I'm gonna lock it. I like this Washington and Wisconsin game. Wisconsin goes to Washington State. Wisconsin's -6. I think I would take Wisconsin. I think I've used all my locks this week. So I got Notre Dame. I got who else did I say? Remind me in the chat. I got Notre Dame. I might even do Utah versus Baylor. Let me see here. I can't remember. While I'm looking that up, I'll bring Davis on here to talk about last week and then his locks for this week. Let's see. Oh, wrong one. All right. Here you go. Davis, get you your airtime.
All right, everybody. So I am not going to be a part of the live version of the podcast. I am actually, as we speak, on that really long bridge that takes you into downtown New Orleans. My wife and I are flying out of the airport to go to a wedding in Washington. So I'm going to give a very quick week 2 recap, and I'm going to let you guys just take care of week 3. But first off, I got to talk about the Florida Gators. Oh my God. That was it doesn't make me excited for the rest of the year. Thank God they play McNeese coming up, and it's going to be a cupcake game because they need something to rebound off of. Full of inconsistencies, especially on offense. Defense looked good in the second half, but to give up a bomb first defensive play of the game for the Florida Gators, not pretty. And then the 3 and outs for the offense on several occasions was just bad. There were times where they were looking a little consistent, starting to move the ball down the field, but damn, they just couldn't move the ball the second they got to the red zone. Other games moving away from Thursday, because that Thursday game just made me so sick to my stomach. Saturday, the teams that really stood out, I thought Tennessee, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, those teams just absolutely fired on all cylinders, looking great. Shout out to the Arkansas State coach for looking so depressed at the end of the Oklahoma game. Colorado, hands down the best Saturday game of the day, making them right now the most exciting team in all of college football. And then Sunday, Florida State, LSU. You know, I left that game feeling that Florida State is actually they're right now the leaders to win the ACC, without a doubt. Maybe LSU can do what they did last year and rebound and have a really successful season, but it was such a different game last year compared to this year. So Florida State, they showed way more promise in this game, especially leading into this season. I think, and I said it earlier, that Florida State might be one of the best teams in the nation, or at least in the ACC. I said that week 0 when we did our first podcast. And then finally, of course, speaking of the other ACC team that you would think was going to compete, Clemson. Oh my God! Now it's looking like Duke might actually give Florida State a run for their money. But I think Clemson played a worse game than Duke played a good game. Clemson just looking so horribly inconsistent. They scored one touchdown against Duke, and they turned the ball over twice in the red zone. Just wasn't a pretty day at all for Clemson. And dynasty over? At least for this season, yes.
At least for the season, we'll see. I don't know if the dynasty's completely over for Dabo, but Davis was right. I liked a lot of his takes. And while I'm looking here, let me remember my locks. I had Notre Dame with Justin, and then I also had Colorado with Justin. And then I want to throw in there Michigan over UNLV. It's -36.5. They didn't cover against Eastern Carolina, but I got a good feeling that they might cover against UNLV. And because Justin might be going to this game, I'm tempted to take the Tulane Ole Miss game, but I am not sure just yet. I am not sure. Oh, man. I'm going Oregon over Texas Tech, -6.5, so that's 4. I need one more lock. Let's see. Where should I spend this thing? Honestly, I'm looking at, for all you bettors out here, I am looking at this UCLA minus 14.5 against San Diego State, and I'm thinking after last week and their tough game against Coastal Carolina, I would think about taking San Diego State in the plus 14. I would think about it. Free Harbaugh indeed. Free Harbaugh indeed. I mean, NCAA is just not dying easy, are they? They're doing everything they can, from keeping players out of games to giving out coach suspensions, and everyone's tired of it. Even ESPN, who used to stick up for NCAA all the time. Nowhere to be found. No help at all. Let's see. One more lock. One more lock, Robert. Who we got? Who we gonna take? I mean, the Wisconsin-Washington State's not bad. I mean, that's not a bad one to take. Let's see this USC-Stanford game right here. This USC-Stanford game, minus 29.5. I think I would take Stanford there. That's a good lock, but I mean, I don't know. USC's balling out. I think I would take Stanford plus 29.5. I don't think it's a lock, though. That's what I don't call a lock. Let's see what Davis has for his other locks here. Bring it back up. He's back in the car. We'll bring him back up. He sent us these because he knew he was going out of town for a wedding, so good on him for keeping up with the pod.
All right, so week 2 locks. I got my other phone here to help me keep track of everything that I'm doing. Let's start off, to me, the easy one, the obvious one's Colorado minus 3 after how they played last week. I like them against a Nebraska team that seems to be barely able to score. Notre Dame minus 7.5. FSU minus 31. I think they're going to put up some points against Southern Miss. Ole Miss against Tulane should be a good game, but can still give me minus 7 for them. And then I think this will be everyone's game of the week, but Texas-Alabama, give me Texas plus 7.
Oh, Texas plus 7, he says. Texas plus 7, he says. Yeah. Now we got 2 good guys on this podcast. If you haven't already, like and subscribe to the podcast. Davis and Justin used to be on ESPN as radio hosts for their college football show here in Pensacola. So both of them good stat guys. I love college football. I do comedy around here, so we try and take the normal takes, make them funny, and then do our own spin to it. But Texas plus 7. I mean, it's not unheard of. They almost won last year. Did they hide what they had in the bag for week 1? Is that why they got off to a slow start, playing with their food, not really eating their rice? Alabama looked good week 1 too. I mean, their O-line, they had a couple sacks, so maybe Texas can get after them. I stay away from it. I will say I'll use my last lock on this because Justin is wanting to go to the game, and he's picking Tulane. And Davis is on it too. He's going minus 7 Ole Miss, and it would make it a fun game for me to watch. I think I'm gonna go minus 7 Ole Miss in that game, and I love that game. I don't know. It's weird. I want Tulane to win. But I'm not gonna lie to myself and say they're going to. I think Ole Miss is really good this year. Yeah, that's gonna be my final lock there. And so follow us on Instagram. We'll release the locks and those kind of graphics there. And I'm going to get this graphic up for the game of the week because I made it, and it's got to be the game of the week graphic. It's coming up. Thanks for hopping in the chat. That was fun. Funny guy, Nate. Nasty Natty Gaming. Nasty Natty. Do you play NCAA? Let's see. I'm pulling this video up. Let's see. Boom. There we go. Game of the week. Let's see these other games going on here. Texas A&M and Miami. I didn't really give my take here. Miami looked good, but they looked good against Miami of Ohio. Texas A&M absolutely blew out New Mexico 52-10. It's at Miami. -4.5. The over-under is 51. I'm tempted to take the under on that, seeing as how last year's game went. I would like to see Miami win this game. I really would. But between Jimbo and Petrino, I think they figure something out on offense here. And this is the find out game. This is like we find out what these teams are going to be this year. And maybe they're both good. Maybe they are both good. But right now, they just played their warm-up game in week 1, and we don't really know too much until they get into the meat of their season. Texas A&M ranked 23. Let's see if they can go up some. And let me see if my game of the week graphic just popped up. Pretty sick graphic. Might have been a little loud. We need to take the volume down on that one a little bit. Nice. All right. That's going to be it for this week. Me and Justin carry this podcast. Like and subscribe on whatever you got. This is on your podcatchers as well. For those of you that just like to listen to it audioly, you can follow me on Nasty Natty Rock On, baby. Let's go, dude. Let's go. We got a new guy up here in the chat. You expect to hear a lot of Letterkenny? Oh, Joey, welcome back to the chat. I don't have my soundboard with me right now. Obviously, I took that down to the FSU-LSU game, hoping to get something going there, but plans fell through, and couldn't get any recording done there. But I was at the tailgate, tried to be at the tailgate, you know. People are weird sometimes, don't let you in. But the chat's going crazy in here. But Joey, longtime podcast listener, big FSU guy. I know you were at the FSU-LSU game, as was I. That thing was about 20% Florida State fans. And about 80% Florida State fans, about 20% LSU fans. I thought it'd be an even split. I went to the game last year, too, in New Orleans. And that was about an even split. I felt like maybe 60 LSU, 40 FSU. But no, FSU fans came down there, and it sounded like Doak Campbell Stadium. And in the second half, FSU just ran away with that. So that was the game of the week last week. Good job, FSU. And you guys got Clemson coming up, which isn't as exciting anymore. Not as exciting anymore. Other than that, I mean, FSU's schedule is looking pretty good. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, y'all are pretty hopeful right now. If I'm an FSU fan, I was worried about LSU, and I was worried about Clemson. And after seeing Clemson and Durham, I'm not too worried. I'm not terribly worried that FSU is going to lose that game. I think they're going to win. Jumped up to number 4, so you guys win out. You're in the playoffs right now. Yeah, Clemson, you got to play Duke. And you got Miami, at Pitt, and at Florida. We saw Florida. I'm a Gator. We don't have our shit together right now. So what are we going to do? Yeah. FSU, Justin hopped back in the chat while he's on the way to work. Thanks. Yeah. FSU has a cakewalk now. Yeah. Virginia Tech did put away Old Dominion for once. Old Dominion didn't get the best of the Hokies. 36-17, put them away. But yeah, I mean, is that at Lane Stadium? No, that's at Doak. Syracuse did put up some points this past week. Syracuse Orange, 65-0. Colgate, brush your teeth clean with Colgate. I don't know, man. I don't see a loss unless FSU loses themselves, like beats themselves, their throw penalties. Maybe Travis has an injury. I don't see FSU losing any of the games on their schedule, head to head, straight up, best game versus best game right now. But it's a long season. The disrespect on Colgate is crazy. They named themselves after toothpaste, or the toothpaste came after them. They're sponsored by Procter & Gamble. I don't know what to tell you. Don't name yourself after toothpaste. It's like being the Burt's Bees, naming yourself after chapstick. I don't know, man. I got FSU. We'll throw some other graphics up here, and don't look at Justin's. Justin's is changed, but this was mine. This is my playoff predictions here. After week 1, I really think. After looking at FSU's schedule, I see them in the playoff there. I see Michigan in the playoff. This is just off of week 1. Just off of week 1, guys. Don't get mad at me, because I think Oklahoma looked better than Texas. Texas got out to a slow start here. So Oklahoma, if you watch that game, they made Butch Jones cry. He was a coach at Tennessee. He came this close to doing great things at Tennessee, and now he's crying on the sidelines at Arkansas State. That's because of Oklahoma and what Brent Venables did there. They had a guy run a punt return, maybe 2 punt returns back, looking insane. He was fast, Speedy Gonzalez over there. Alabama looked good too. I'm not going to count Alabama out. I don't have Georgia in here, so what does that say? Does it say I think Georgia's bad? No, I think they're really good. I think maybe Alabama beats them in the SEC. And if they don't, then put Georgia's helmet there. So those are my guys. That's my prediction for the playoff there. He coached Cincinnati. I mean, maybe Luke Fickell had y'all right though over Cincinnati. Yeah, Butch went from. But you know what? Hey, I'm not trying to hate on Butch Jones, but beat the mess out of him. 73-0. Call your grandma. What are you gonna do? All right, enough of this graphic. We'll throw Davis's graphic up here. Davis going the opposite way of me. And I gave him the opportunity to change, so he said he'd keep it for this week. We got Georgia in the number 1 spot, and by no means did he give me a 1 through 4 accurately. He just threw some names on a text message and sent it to me. So this is what he gets. He got Georgia, Texas, USC, and Ohio State, which I think is a pretty good playoff. If I were to say, hey, give me 4 teams, almost all the red teams in the playoffs, just like we were talking about in episode 1 this year. Are we going to get an all-red playoff? Texas busted the all-red playoff there on his. Now, Justin did change his up. Justin changed his up here. Clemson is not accurate. I think he switched him out for North Carolina, and he locked that one in. So Justin's got Alabama, North Carolina, not Clemson, Washington, and Ohio State. That'd be a fun playoff too. Looking at North Carolina, it's possible. It's possible. FSU could have to face them in the ACC championship. I could see it happening. And we did not get a shot game. We did not pick a shot game. So we're going to have to pick a shot game. I think we might make it that Tulane game. I don't know. We might make it the Tulane game. And that's going to be it for this episode, guys. Again, like, subscribe, share it to your friends who watch college football. Tell them to check us out. Joey Two Guns. Georgia, Ohio, LSU, FSU. LSU, I mean, maybe before this week, not after that. Not after. I don't want to see that game again. Maybe if it was close. I think FSU handled them. I think they handled them. What's the crazy take? Is the crazy take North Carolina from Joey? Yeah. I don't think LSU's making it back into it. You got to think they got to play Texas A&M, Alabama. Just for funsies, let's just look at LSU's schedule real quick. They got to play Arkansas, rivalry game. You don't know what's going to happen there. At Ole Miss. Ole Miss is really good. They got a great run game. They couldn't stop FSU in the run game. Versus Auburn, another rivalry game. Alabama, Florida. Florida's got a decent D-line. Could get after them. I mean, Florida's defense didn't do terrible against Utah, even though they had 8 starters missing and a starting quarterback. And then they finished off against Texas A&M. So, like I said, this week we'll see what Texas A&M's all about with Miami. Or maybe we won't. Maybe it's another week or two before we see in the SEC play. But again, thanks for joining, guys. I'm out. And go ahead and hit that like button for us. One more again.
These people don't give a shit.
Who's giving them the business?
All the man is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. Here goes Davis. Oh my God. Davis is going running all the way.
I was hopping off, but Nasty Natty Gaming said UMass, UNLV, Cincinnati, Boise. That's a great take. Yeah, not happening. Not happening in a million years. All right, back to the.
These people don't give a shit.
Who's giving them the business?